Here we are. Hazel has asked me to show how I make fish and chips. So I'm going to start absolutely from scratch. First thing we need to do is go and get the ingredients. So in this cupboard we've got some flour, which you need some flour. And then to mix it in this cupboard, I need a bowl for making the batter. I use this size. I also need some corn flour. Where's the corn flour gone? Some corn flour. And the most important thing for this batter, I need to get from the fridge again, which is some beer. So the first thing you need to do when you're making decent fish and chips is to get some beer. And the reason you need beer is because it's fizzy and that puts air into the water. So I just put some flour into the bowl. That should be enough, I think. And then we just need a small amount of corn flour, not that much. Just mix that in. Then you add the beer. Can you hear the fizz? So you just mix this in slowly. Best to do it bit by bit, because if you put too much in it gets too wet and runny and then it's very difficult to make it thicker again. Hazel was surprised when I said come and start filming it because it's only 4 o'clock. I'll be making this fish and chips to be eaten around about 7 o'clock. What you need to do with this batter, you need to let it stand for an hour or so and also cooling down. So at the moment you can still see that it's fairly lumpy. So I'm just using the spoon to try and get rid of the lumps. I've seen some people doing this in a food mixer, but you don't need to use a food mixer, just a spoon's good enough. You get rid of most of the lumps, but even if there are 1 or 2 little lumps in there, it doesn't matter because when you fry this, those little lumps become the little chunky crispy bits. And you just need enough of this batter to be able to coat the fish. So that's just about enough for the amount of fish that we're going to need. So what I'll do now is put this back in the fridge.
If there's a space.
There's a space there. Now just leave that now for about an hour at least. And then get the fish ready.
What for?
But this is the fish, which we'll pause the video now and come back in about an hour or so's time. We're nearer to getting ready. Okay, so see you later.
A few moments later.
Hello, welcome back. I'm going to carry on now with part 2, which means getting the chips ready and then starting to cooking. So, I'm going to get the equipment I need. Show you what that's for later. Put that out of the way for now. What I need to get is this ready. And I need to get a pan. See what that's for soon. I also need this pan as well. So we're going to double cook the chips.
Oh, we don't have
Double
these.
cook the chips.
We don't have these.
No, everything in peace. Just going to put them in this pan first because I'm going to boil them first before I fry them. It makes nicer chips.
It's not up chips.
Well, because we can't have any peas, I'm going to do some bread so I can have chip butter as well. What I actually do now, I just run some cold water onto that. Just remove that. Put them on the cooker. And then put some salt in the water. We'll just boil them now for about 5 minutes. Not fully boiled, because I'm now going to fry them. What I need to get ready for that is some kitchen paper. When they're boiled, I shall then tip off the water and then dry them off, so they'll be nice and dry. Get the chip pan, which is this, because I want to get got a bit more kitchen paper because the fish needs to be dried off to begin with. So that's that bit. Now what I need as well is some flour. Because what you need to do is put the fish into the flour, because that makes the batter stick to the fish better.
Just get to the back.
I've just got the batter back out of the fridge, and what I didn't know is this little secret, which I didn't show Hazel earlier on, but I actually put a little spoonful of honey into the batter. That makes it nice, really nice colour, and there's a little bit of flavour in there as well. So now just stir that just gently. Now that's ready. So what we're doing now is just waiting for the potatoes to boil a bit, and I'll show you what to do with them when they're ready. And I've buttered some bread, some bread and butter with it. So what we've got here is now the potato chips, just boiling in boiling water for about 5 minutes. The oil is ready for the fish, and the chip pan is ready for when the fish is cooked. And what I'm also going to do is just turn on the oven so that's warm, so we can keep the fish warm when it's cooked.
Hi guys, it's me. We're having fish and chips tonight because it's Friday. It's a traditional food here in England. Friday is fish and chips.
Right, so I've just turned the water heat off under this pan, and that's hot, so I need something to hold it with. If you watch out, I'm going to the sink. So I'm just going to tip this . Tip them onto this to dry them off. You'll be able to see that the steam's coming off those. Out of the way for now. Now we're nearly ready to start cooking. What we have to do is just make sure the oil is at the right temperature before we actually drop them in. And what you do with that, you just get a little bit of batter on your spoon and drip some into there. And then when that little bit of batter floats up to the top, it's nearly ready to be the right temperature, and the fun begins. So you can see it's floated up to the top. It's not sizzling yet. Wait for it to start sizzling. Just take a while. So when you just turn the heat on underneath this oil. It's still not hot enough yet. Oh, it's risen up a lot quicker though, that one. That little bit that I tipped in there, risen up to the top a bit quicker. Now, you get your fish, just put the flour on it, put it into your batter, turn it round and over. This is where it gets quite a bit messy. And also what you do now, you've got to let the excess drip off. Place it carefully into the, well, you do it slowly because you don't want it to go right down to the bottom, because then it'll just get stuck on the bottom. The next piece of fish ready into the flour. Into the batter. Okay now. Just lower it in carefully. You can hear it starting to sizzle a bit. But now I need to get a spoon or a knife. Just make sure they don't stick together and lift them off the bottom. That one is beginning to stick on the bottom. You just see the lights on there. And I don't know if you can tell now, but they are beginning to float, which is a good sign. That shows that they're cooking properly. See this one floating around? This one's still wanting to sink.
A few moments later.
Yeah, it's behind you. Whilst I'm just waiting for that, I'll put these chips into the chip fryer thing, ready for the cooking of the chips. You just have to wait until they're nice golden brown. You know it's ready now. I shall use this scoop to get the fish out of the hot oil. Because the oil's a lot hotter now, the second lot of fish I'm going to put in with this so that I don't burn my fingers. Safety. Always think of safety.
That cooked now?
Yeah. But it's also going in the oven as well.
There's something left there.
So,
There's something left.
yeah, no, don't worry about that. Just move your legs. So I'll just put that in the oven. Keep hot. Start cooking the next two. Again, just lower it in slowly. And this is when you realise you might not have made enough batter. I think I have. Yeah, I've just got enough batter. Again, I'm just going to use my knife to lift them off the bottom so they don't stick. And the second two are always better than the first two. Don't know why. It's probably because the fat's hotter. You can see that they're floating much better than the first ones did. They've already gone brown. And because they're nearly cooked, let's reach over here and switch this thing on. That looks yummy. The oven. These chips. And then to make some, I've not got enough batter, but usually I've got a little bit of batter left over to make
Here's some kutsara.
some bits.
Here's kutsara. Oh.
To get warm. It's always nicer on a warm plate. Nearly ready. Maybe yellow. They need to be light brown to be perfect. nearly ready. Another 2 minutes, I think, if that. Just use this minute now to get from the cupboard
We got
essential tartar sauce and Tommy ketchup.
the ketchup. I'll take over the chips. I think it's stuck.
Yeah, I think those are ready. So just put them there. Let oil to drip off. Once the oil is dripping off, get the plates ready. Nice and warm. Always, always, always when you're cooking, remember to turn things off. Oops.
Oops.
That's collapsing. I need something.
That's the first one.
Oh, yeah, oh dear. That one's collapsed, but it will still taste nice. Special little thing to make it taste really nice. A little bit of sea salt. This is actually from Malvern, which is near Southend, near London, in Essex. A little bit of extra flavour.
And tartar sauce.
Yummy.
Yummy, yummy, yummy.
Playing this back and getting ready to edit it and stuff. There's a little extra secret in there which I filmed when you weren't here. There's a little bit of extra secret gone into this. which you weren't here when I put it in, but it's on the video. Ah, secret way to find out.
Is it rum?
No.
Camera is going.
Is it? Where's it going?
It's going.
Bye, camera.